Present.
Councillor Mickle,
Here.
City Clerk Richter,
Here.
City Manager Warren,
Present, Your Worship.
Director of Engineering Wilkinson,
Present.
Director of Finance Missile. It's Laura there. Director of Leisure Services, Mr. Crow.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. You seem to be missing finance. She will join us here in a little bit. We're then moving on. We need a motion to allow remote electronic council meeting.
Your Worship, this is Councillor Van Betchu. I would like to make a motion that City Council suspend the rules of order as set out in the City of Weyburn Council Procedures Bylaw to allow for City Council and City Administration to participate in the regular meeting of City Council this 14th day of April 2020.
Councillor Mickle seconds that motion.
Do we have any discussion, please? Seeing none, I'm going to go through the roll again and ask for each of you to give me your yes or no. For or against. Councillor Van Betchu?
For.
Councillor Wheeler? Councillor Bailey?
Councillor Bailey, yes.
Councillor Richards?
For.
Councillor Chessel?
For.
Councillor Mickle?
Yes.
I myself, Mayor Roy, yes. It is unanimous. Moving forward, we need the approval of the minutes of the regular council meeting and strategic planning and priorities meeting held March 23rd, 2020. Do I have a motion, please?
Your Worship, it's Councillor Richards. I would make a motion that the minutes of the regular council meeting and the strategic planning and priorities meeting of March 23rd, 2020 be approved.
Your Worship, this is Councillor Bailey. I would second that motion.
Going through the roll again. Councillor Van Betchu,
Yes.
Councillor Wheeler,
Yes.
Councillor Bailey,
Yes.
Councillor Richards,
Yes.
Councillor Chessel,
Yes.
Councillor Mickle,
Yes.
Mayor Roy, yes. It is unanimous. Motion is passed. Are there any additions to the agenda? There are no public hearings, delegations and proclamations. We have none. There are no reports of standing committee. We have motions that we require for the accounts payable. Do I have a motion, please?
Your Worship, you missed one, Your Worship. Can you go back to number 6, please?
Oh, pardon me, the water treatment plant report for March. Can I have a motion, please, for that one? To accept the water treatment plant report. Do you have a motion, please? Councillor Chessel?
Your Worship, this is Councillor Wheeler. I'll make the motion that the water treatment plant for March 2020 be accepted as presented.
This is Councillor Bailey. I will second that.
Going through the roll call again. Councillor Van Betchu, in favor or against?
Yes.
Councillor Wheeler?
Yes.
Councillor Bailey?
Yes.
Councillor Richards?
Yes.
Councillor Chessel?
Yes.
Councillor Mickle?
Yes.
Mayor Roy? Yes. Motion is being passed unanimously. Moving forward, item number 6, we have a consent agenda, the motions, accounts payable. Do you have a motion, please?
Thank you, Your Worship. Councillor Mickle is very pleased to make this motion that the purchases in the amount of $1,843,421.82 from March 20th to April 9th, 2020 be approved.
Do you have a second?
Your Worship, it's Councillor Richards. I'll second that.
Discussion? Hearing none. Counselor Van Betchu, how do you vote?
Yes.
Counselor Wheeler,
Yes.
Counselor Bailey,
Yes.
Counselor Richards,
Yes.
Counselor Chessel,
Yes.
Counselor Mickle,
yes,
Mayor Roy, yes. The next item of business, the refuse truck tender. Could we have the Director of Engineering, Wilkinson, provide us a summary, please?
Yes, this is Director of Engineering Wilkinson. So to give a bit of background, the 2020 fleet service budget contains provisions for the procurement of one refuse collection vehicle. The budget amount is $220,000. Upon discussion, tender was prepared, post-assessed tenders. The option was presented for proponents to offer a trade-in value for an available city-owned refuse truck. It is a 2011 Freightliner M2 having 62,414 kilometers and 6,700 hours recorded. Competition closed on March 31st of 2020. In total, we received 5 bids from 4 different suppliers. Number of factors are with consideration to determine the most preferable bid for the city. This includes compliance with tendering conditions and required vehicle specifications, delivery times, servicing, warranty, and price. Seen below, the bids are summarized in the table. They're sorted from lowest. As indicated, bids which met specifications, all bids exclude GST. Superior Truck Equipment, they offered a 2021 Freightliner M2 106. They offered without trade and with trade, so $299,609 without trade, and then $278,409 with trade. London Machinery, they offered a 2020 Freightliner M2 106. They did not offer a trade value. They only offered without trade for $301,513.82. Westback Industrial, they offered a 2021 Freightliner M2 106. They did not offer trade. On the current unit, their without trade is $306,923. Furmark Equipment Limited gave us 2 options. First one was a 2021 Freightliner M2 106. Without trade was $307,516.52. With trade was $270,416.52. Their second option was a 2021 International HV 607 without trade was $327,392.58, and with trade was $290,292.58. In assessment of the trade-in value offered to suppliers, it was ranging from $20,000 to $35,000. Given the relative condition and low mileage of the trade-in, we feel that we have potential to convert this for alternate use or to put it in auction, and we do not believe the city should trade in this vehicle. Strictly comparing the bid price each unit without trade, further considerations were made on this, and a lot of it was to do with the operation and maintenance of this vehicle. In terms of operation, the performance efficiency and respective safety of routine collection are directly impacted by specific systems. Differences were examined a lot with the arm reach and the cycle timing. The shorter arm reach makes it a lot harder to get into some of the bays. So that was a big component for us, as well as hydraulic operation. We want to avoid the need to reposition the vehicle, having the means to more quickly and effectively conduct each route, which will prevent incidents, reduce time and effort spent in use and upkeep. As well, there's a distinct benefit to utilizing an equipped vehicle that both operators and mechanics are familiar with. The new Way Sidewinder service body provisioned by Westback Industrial has been singled out as familiar, convenient for use and repair, as opposed to the Labrie, Heel, and McNeilis as offered by the other bidders. Things to note, delivery schedules varied from 14 weeks to 230 days, with the average delivery being about 170 days. For parts, most in-stock items would be available within 24 to 48 hours, and then standard warranties are roughly equivalent in coverage. Due to overall cost of exceeding our budgeted amount, we have not incorporated extended warranty pricing into the recommendation. Lastly, suppliers were requested to recommend and price options as part of their submission. Two options that we have included are the arm cycle counter for $305 and the auxiliary arm controls for $679. Based on express need for tracking usage and redundant electronic controls, these amounts have been added to the bid price to comprise the total listed below. The Department of Public Works and Engineering is recommending that the unit offered by Westback Industrial Limited best meets the tender and service requirements. So we would recommend the contract be awarded to Westback Industrial Limited at a bid price of $307,966.04 and to not trade in our current refuse collection truck.
Do I have a motion, please?
Yes, Your Worship, this is Councillor Bailey. I would like to make the motion that the bid from Westback Industry Limited for the supply of a 2021 Freightliner M2-106 and to include an arm cycle counter in the amount of $305 and auxiliary arm control in the amount of $679 to be used as a refuge collection vehicle in the amount of $307,966.04 without the trade be accepted.
Second,
Your Worship, I'll second that motion.
discussion, please.
And I, sorry, Your Worship, Councillor
Speak
Chessel
first.
here.
State your name.
Councillor Chessel here.
Wait.
I guess I'm really, I'll be honest, I'm struggling with this this piece here. I would personally like to see a little more information on before we spend 300 and some thousand on a new truck. Whether I know currently, I don't know if Jen, you're just started with us, but kind of a review of potentially looking at third partying this as an option. You know, I understand it wouldn't happen overnight, but just wondering if this was tabled or if we did look at that option, can we survive another 6 months, 8 months, a year on our current trucks we do have now?
Mr. Richards, you wish to speak?
If the Director of Engineering wants to go ahead and answer questions one at a time, that'd be fine as well.
Yeah, so Director of Engineering Wilkinson speaking. There is the option to accept the life of the trucks that we have now and to continue using them. The only thing is this unit that we are replacing does not have any reliability. Based on speaking with the staff, we cannot confirm that when we do go to fire it up that it will actually work. And we have had to contract services in the past because of the failure of this unit. So that is one risk that would have to be accepted by council, that you would have to pay an additional contractor's expense when we do have a truck that is sitting there that just won't work.
Mr. Richards.
Thanks, Your Worship. It's Councillor Richards. Director Wilkinson, is this the truck that we're looking to move into another purpose? That's not our primary truck. I'm asking the question, is that our primary truck or is that a secondary truck? That's my first question. So I think what I'm understanding is this new truck will become our primary truck. The truck that's currently our primary truck will become our secondary truck. Is that correct?
Director of Engineering Wilkinson speaking. Yes, you are correct in that our this new one would become the primary truck and the current primary truck would become our secondary.
Great. So if I can continue, Your Worship, it's Councillor Richards. Just a follow-up question to that. How regularly does this the secondary truck, how often is it deployed, I don't know, in a month or over a 3-month period?
Director of Engineering Wilkinson speaking. It is always deployed after a staff holiday for up to 2 days to compensate for the extra garbage pickup there. So we always deploy it after that. And then anytime there's any service-related issues to the primary truck, I could look into that for you. I don't know offhand how many times our primary truck does have to be serviced a year. I can get that information for you, but it would primarily be after that holiday and then anytime the primary truck's being serviced.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Councillor Van Betchu here.
Go ahead, Mr. Van Betsch.
As what Councillor Chessel says, I'm struggling with spending this kind of money. But on the other hand, I don't like the idea of having to contract out once or twice a year for a cost of $10,000 to $15,000, an alternate source to pick up our garbage, which would defeat the purpose of waiting a year for sure. I do have one question though, in regards to the warranty. I'm guessing that the operating equipment on this new truck is similar to the operating equipment on the two older trucks. And is it reliable equipment, and is it smart to not buy the warranty, even though there is an additional cost to it? That's it.
Director of Engineering Wilkinson speaking. For the warranty, with the older truck, the truck that we're trying to replace now, the service body is the biggest issue with that truck. So with that one, we have actually disincluded bidders that have provided that exact service body because we know that it has more issues. So that's what we've done to help with that. And it's a lot similar to our primary unit, which we have not had as many issues with. So that's why we feel comfortable with not extending the warranty, is because we are picking a truck that we do have a history with or of similar equipment, so that we do feel that it is providing a proper service.
Okay, thank you very much.
Mr. Richards?
Thanks, Your Worship. I know that I've spoken my 2 times to this, and I apologize for that. But to Director Wilkinson and I guess to Council, I don't know that I can vote right today for or against this. I would be in favor of us tabling this decision till the next council meeting, just so we've got a little bit more time to maybe evaluate what we. So this seems there's a few unknowns for us, and I'm not making a motion to that effect. I'm just asking if there's an appetite for that from council.
Council, you've heard that discussion and we've heard that suggestion from Mr. Richards. Does anybody wish to ask to table the motion? Then you'd have to second that motion.
Your worship, may I make a comment?
Go ahead, Mr. Mickle.
To Councillor Mickle, Jennifer, thank you for the work on this project. This doesn't surprise me. The time has come. Some of this conversation we're having now, it should have happened at budget time when this was presented to us about the options of having somebody else come in. We do not want to have our residents at risk to pick up garbage because we have a truck that we can't depend on. It takes so long to get the other one in focus here. So this has to be done today. I don't think delaying it 2 weeks is going to help the situation. Getting third party in to pick up our garbage costs way too much money. We have the reserve in the fleet's budget to cover this off. I think the decision has to be made tonight, and we cannot keep our citizens at risk, especially in this environment that we live in today.
Your Worship, Councillor Chessel here, if I can chime in one more time. I guess I feel we're not losing service right now. This is replacing. This doesn't get used maybe once a month. I guess 2 questions. Have we looked at what it would cost just to fix the existing truck in the meantime, if we do need it? Has that been looked at? I guess that's one question. And I guess more of a comment, I would agree with Councillor Richard that to get a little more information before I vote on this tonight, or as mentioned, I would not vote on it or say nay instead of yay on this one at the moment with the information provided.
Director of Engineering. I was gonna, let's say, Director of Engineer, did you want to make any comment towards this?
Director of Engineering Wilkinson speaking. Just to address the service part of things, being with the age, and we know that it is always directed to the service body of this vehicle, I feel that we have invested enough money into the service body that we feel you can only invest so much money in and only fix it so many times before you need to start looking at other options. And I think the better option is the truck is still in good shape and can be easily repurposed or sold. And we don't want to put any more money into a service body that continues to fail.
And sorry, Your Worship, I guess just one more question, Councillor Chesley here regarding your comment, Mr. Mickle, that it is too much money to third party. That's on an emergency basis, but have we ever actually got a quote on what it would cost to third party, just like we do recycling? Would it be less of a fee? That's more my concern is before we spend this, is that something we should have looked at prior?
I'll make a comment that Mayor Roy here, make a comment and rebuff to that. Mr. Chessel, my feeling is that we have seen through the years of history in other cities that have outsourced their garbage. Garbage is always one of those really dangerous things that prices can escalate, and if things go sideways, they can go really dangerously sideways. I think we had a discussion here when they were looking at spending all the money on our refuge out at and upgrading our refuge site, that we would not, I know that there was a talk that some different parties wanted to purchase it from us, and we as a city had decided that we are not going to ever give up our control of simply the cost or the control of our refuge site, nor pickup, because as soon as you do that, then we can be at the mercy of another third party. And I think that is one of the things that we wanted to kind of stay away from. So I called the question.
Your Worship, Councillor Chessel, I guess I knew we had discussed the landfill, but I was not aware of that we discussed refuges off the table for third party. I was not aware of that, honestly. I'd never heard that.
Okay, sorry about that. I shouldn't say that. I guess that when we discussed the landfill, I included anything to do with garbage. That was my own implication. So I apologize if I misconstrued that. I know that we talked about the landfill, and I would just think that anything connected to refuge should just really not, that's my opinion. So, and I'll express my opinion only. So the question becomes, the first question is, before we, I call the question on, does anybody wish to make a motion to table this and then have a seconder on it? Mr. Richards?
You know what, Your Worship, I'll give folks the opportunity. I will make a motion to table this until the April 27th council meeting.
Do I have a second?
Your Worship, Councillor Chessel here, I'd second that.
Seeing this motion being presented before us, I go through the list again. Mr. Van Betju, how do you vote on the motion to table?
I guess I'll agree to table it. A couple more weeks probably isn't going to make too much difference, although I don't think the decision is going to change.
Councillor Wheeler?
I'd agree with Councillor Van Betju. I agree to table this until the next council meeting.
Councillor Wheeler? I mean, that's Councillor Wheeler. Councillor Bailey?
Yes, I'll vote in favor of tabling it.
Councillor Richards?
In favor.
Councillor Cecil?
In favor.
Councillor Mickle?
No.
And Mayor Roy? No. Also, there are 5 in favor of tabling and 2 against. So with that being said, the motion is tabled till next council meeting. Moving forward, Urban Forestry Bylaw Amendment. Director of Legal Services, Mr. Crow, can we have a summary, please?
Hi, Director of Leisure Services, Andrew Crow here. So basically, we took a look at our urban forestry bylaw over the last few months to make some changes to it, most of them being verbiage, changing out some roles and responsibilities in the bylaw, and that's happened just due to the fact that the Parks Department now is within the org structure of the Leisure Services Department for the city. So we've listed a lot of, not a lot, there's a few changes throughout the document where the superintendent has been changed out with parks managers. He will take on the main role on the city side of this bylaw. The one, I wouldn't say major, but the one change that we have included beyond just the verbiage would be in the pruning section. We're making a recommendation that the bylaw be amended to include keeping shrubs and hedges trimmed back at least 30 centimeters from the sidewalk itself. That being said, private shrubs and hedges being held back 30 centimeters from the sidewalk. We just feel that we're having issues with homeowners letting their shrubbery take off and encroaching over the sidewalks. A few years ago, this was included for corner lots already to allow for better sight lines for vehicles and for pedestrians. And we're just asking that it be included on for just frontage lots as well to the sidewalk.
Do we have a motion, please?
Yes, your worship, this is Councillor Van Betchu. I'd like to make a motion that bylaw 2020-3414 to amend bylaw 2018-3373, the urban forestry bylaw for the city of Weyburn be read a first time.
Do we have a seconder? Seconder?
This is Councillor Bailey. I'll second that.
Do we have discussion, please?
Yes, your worship, Councillor Bailey, I'd just like to ask Andrew a question on this.
Go ahead.
Yes, Andrew, I agree with what you're doing here with the pruning of the private hedges, and we see hedges in Carriganis and everything, and some of the older parts of our city especially go quite a ways across the sidewalk. Do we have anything planned to, tell the people you need to do this, or is there a penalty involved if they don't, or how are we going to address maintaining this bylaw?
Director of Leisure Services, Crow speaking. So yeah, we will definitely advertise to the public that we're making these changes, and that's why we wanted to get this amendment done before spring comes around, so that homeowners are able to get on top of their problems ahead of time and take control of them before anything happens to that regard. As far as penalties, it would follow the same protocol as the corner lots, where having this bylaw in place will allow our bylaw enforcement officer to follow through on complaints. We hope that we don't have to worry about fines. We hope that people will be educated on it and take the means into their own hands to take care of their problems.
Okay, Councillor Bailey, thank you for that. I too hope we don't have to go to that route, but I certainly see a need for having this implemented. Thank you.
Any further discussion? Call the question. All those in favor, Councillor Van Betchu,
Yes.
Councillor Wheeler,
Yes.
Councillor Bailey,
Yes.
Councillor Richards,
Yes.
Councillor Chessel,
Yes.
Councillor Mickle,
Yes.
Mayor Roy, yes. First reading is passed unanimously. We have second reading, please.
Yes, your worship, Councillor Van Betchu. I'd like to make a motion that bylaw 2020-3414 to amend bylaw 2018-3373, the urban forestry bylaw for the city for Weyburn be read a second time.
Do you have a second?
This is Councillor Bailey. I will second that motion.
Discussion? Hearing none. Councillor Van Betchu,
Yes.
Councillor Wheeler,
Yes.
Councillor Bailey,
Yes.
Councillor Richards,
Yes.
Councillor Chessel,
Yes.
Councillor Mickle,
Yes.
Mayor Roy, yes. Second reading is passed unanimously. Do we have a motion to do a third reading?
Your worship, Councillor Van Betchu, that bylaw 2020-3414 to amend bylaw 2018-3373, the urban forestry bylaw for the city of Weyburn, be given 3 readings at this meeting.
This is Councillor Bailey. I will second that.
Councillor Van Betchu, how do you vote?
Yes.
Councillor Wheeler,
Yes.
Councillor Bailey,
Yes.
Councillor Richards,
Yes.
Councillor Chessel,
Yes.
Councillor Mickle,
Yes.
Mayor Roy, yes. To do a third reading at this meeting, it has been passed unanimously.
Your worship, this is
Third-
Councillor Van Betchu. I'd like to make a motion that bylaw 2020-3414 to amend bylaw 2018-3373, the urban forestry bylaw for city of Weyburn be read a third time and passed.
Councillor
made that
Bailey, I
motion.
will second that.
Didn't you sorry, go ahead. And Mr. Van Betchu, how do you vote?
Yes.
Councillor Wheeler,
Yes.
Councillor Bailey,
Yes.
Councillor Richards,
Yes.
Councillor Chessel,
Yes.
Councillor Mickle,
Yes.
Mayor Roy, yes. The bylaw has been read a third time and passed unanimously. Thank you. Item number 8B, mill rate factors and base tax bylaw. Director of Finance, Missile, are you there?
Hi, this is Director of Finance, Michelle. Can you hear me now? I don't
Yes,
know
we
what
can hear
happened.
you now. Yeah.
Okay. So this is just basically to update the bylaw based on what we passed in the budget. So it updates our rates for our mill rates and for our base tax. When we went through the budget, the residential mill rate, we had budgeted for municipal to increase by 1.72%, and the base tax would go up by $35. The school rates have stayed the same. And then with commercial, we budgeted for the municipal, commercial and all other rates. Municipal was to increase 2.9%, and the school rates have stayed the same.
Any discussion to our Director of Finance? Before we do the discussion, do we have a motion, please?
Hey, Your Worship, this is Councillor Richards. I make a motion that bylaw 2020-3415, a bylaw to establish mill rate factors for classes, subclasses of land and improvements, and to provide for base tax for the city of Weyburn for 2020, be read a second time.
This is Councillor Bailey. I will second that motion.
And discussion? Hearing none. Councillor Van Betchu, how do you vote on this motion?
Yes.
Councillor Wheeler,
Yes.
Councillor Bailey,
Yes.
Councillor Richards,
Yes.
Councillor Chessel,
Yes.
Councillor Mickle,
Yes.
Mayor Roy, yes. Second reading has been passed unanimously.
Excuse me, Your Worship, that was the first reading, I
Oh,
believe.
That was
first reading, sorry about that.
My bad on that one.
Yeah,
I got that wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. You've
I'm
misled.
getting ahead of myself, Your Worship. I apologize for that.
Go ahead. Let's do the next one, reading.
Your Worship, it's Councillor Richards again. I'll make a motion that bylaw 2020-3415, a bylaw to establish mill rate factors for classes, subclasses of land and improvements, and to provide for base tax for the city of Weyburn for 2020 be read second time.
This is Councillor Bailey. I will second that motion.
On the second reading, how do you vote, Mr. Van Betchu?
Yes.
Mr. Wheeler,
Yes.
Mr. Bailey,
Yes.
Councillor Richards,
Yes.
Councillor Chessel, Councillor Mickle,
Yes.
Mayor Roy, yes. Second reading is passed. This time, second reading is passed unanimously. So,
Your
go
Your
ahead.
Worship's Councillor Richards again. I'll make a motion. I'll keep them in order this time that bylaw 2020-3415, a bylaw to establish mill rate factors for classes, subclasses of land and improvements, and to provide for the base tax for the city of Weyburn for 2020 be given 3 readings at this meeting.
This is Councillor Bailey. I will second that motion.
Mr. Van Bessu, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. Wheeler,
Yes.
Mr. Bailey,
Yes.
Mr. Richards,
Yes.
Mr. Chessel,
Yes.
Mr. Mickle,
Yes.
Mayor Roy, yes. Passed unanimously to do 3 readings at this meeting. Third reading.
Your Worship, it's Councillor Richards again. I'll motion that bylaw 2020-3415, a bylaw to establish mill rate factors for classes, subclasses of land and improvements, and to provide for a base tax for the city of Weyburn for 2020 be read a 3rd time and passed.
Do you have a second?
Your Worship, Council Bailey, I will second that motion.
Mr. Van Bessu, how do you vote?
Yes.
Councillor Wheeler,
Yes.
Councillor Bailey,
Yes.
Councillor Richards,
Yes.
Councillor Chessel,
Yes.
Councillor Mickle,
Yes.
Mayor Roy, yes. The bylaw has thus been passed unanimously. Item number 8C, mill rate bylaw for taxation. Director of Finance?
So this is Director of Finance myself. So this is to establish the uniform mill rate for the taxation year 2020. This year's mill rate, uniform rate is 7.278 mils, and the bylaw also includes the provincial rate for a combined rate for each class.
Do we have a motion, please?
Your Worship, this is Councillor Wheeler. I'd like to make a motion that the bylaw 2020-3416, bylaw to fix rates for taxation of the city of Weyburn for 2020 be read a first time.
This is Councillor Mickle, and I second that motion.
Discussion. Just want to point out that again, the hospital levy that we see here has been reduced from $140 to $40 a door. Going forward, Mr. Van Bessu, how do you vote?
Yes.
Councillor Wheeler,
Yes.
Councillor Bailey,
Yes.
Councillor Richards,
Yes.
Councillor Chessel,
Yes.
Councillor Mickle,
Yes.
Mayor Roy, yes.
Your Worship, this is Councillor Wheeler. I'd like to make the motion that bylaw 2020-3416, bylaw to fix rates for taxation of the city of Weyburn for 2020 be read a second time.
This is Councillor Mickle, and I'll second that motion.
Discussion? Councillor Van Bessu, how do you vote?
Yes.
Councillor Wheeler,
Yes.
Councillor Bailey,
Yes.
Councillor Richards,
Yes.
Councillor Chessel,
Yes.
Councillor Mickle,
Yes.
Mayor Roy, yes. Second reading is passed unanimously.
Your Worship, this is Councillor Wheeler. I'd like to make the motion that bylaw 2020-3416, bylaw to fix rates for taxation of the city of Weyburn for 2020 be given a 3rd reading at this meeting.
This is Councillor Mickle, and I will second that motion.
Councillor Van Bessu, how do you vote?
Yes.
Councillor Wheeler,
Yes.
Councillor Bailey,
Yes.
Councillor Richards,
Yes.
Councillor Chessel,
Yes.
Councillor Mickle,
Yes.
Mayor Roy, yes. Motion's been passed unanimously.
Your Worship, I'd like to make the motion that bylaw 2020-3416, bylaw to fix rates for taxation of the city of Weyburn for 2020 be read a 3rd time and passed.
This is Councillor Mickle, and I will second that motion.
Councillor Van Betchu, how do you vote?
Yes.
Councillor Wheeler,
Yes.
Councillor Bailey,
Yes.
Councillor Richards,
Yes.
Councillor Chessel,
Yes.
Councillor Mickle,
Yes.
Mayor Roy, yes. This mill rate bylaw for taxation has been passed unanimously. Moving forward, property tax deferral. Director Misal.
Hi, this is Director of Finance, Masal. So I would like to just propose that we defer the interest on property taxes past the deadline of July 31st. So we will not apply interest after July 31st and to only start applying it on November 1st. So it'd be 3 months after. Normally we apply interest starting August 1st and every month at a rate of 1.5%. If taxpayers are on pre-authorized payments, this does not apply to them. We don't charge interest on those payments that are from July to December. We'd just like to encourage that this doesn't mean that taxes are not due. We're just deferring any interest on payments that aren't made by July 31st.
Do I have a motion, please?
Your Worship, Councillor Chessel here. I'll move that Weyburn City Council direct administration to bring back a bylaw to allow the deferral of monthly interest on property taxes in the city of Weyburn by 3 months to November 1st, 2020.
Do I have a seconder?
Yes, Councillor Van Betchu, and I'll second that motion, Your Worship.
Discussion? So does this mean, Director of Finance, does this mean that we have to reopen the bylaw here on this, for this motion? Or do we, by passing this motion completely 3 times, that the tax can be deferred back without interest?
Your Worship, this is City Clerk Richter. I'll actually just answer that for our Director of Finance. But yes, we would just be amending the penalties bylaw. We have a penalties bylaw in place, and we would simply be amending one clause in the bylaw and delaying the penalties to be added from August 1st to November 1st, and it would only be for 2020. Obviously, this is due to the COVID-19 pandemic issues, so this would only be for the year 2020. Next year, we will go back to the original bylaw and applying penalties as stated in the original bylaw.
Okay. Is that all clear to the council? Hearing nothing, how do you vote on this? Councillor Van Betchu?
Yes.
Councillor Wheeler?
Yes.
Councillor Bailey?
Yes.
Councillor Richards?
Yes.
Councillor Chessel?
Yes.
Councillor Mickle?
Yes.
Mayor Roy? Yes. Do I have a second reading?
Your Worship, that's just a motion. We will bring back the bylaw to the next meeting.
Okay. Thank you. Inquiries and announcements? Councillors? Councillor Van Betchu, any inquiries or announcements?
No, I don't, Your Worship.
Councillor Wheeler?
No, Your Worship.
Councillor Bailey?
Nothing at this time, sir.
Councillor Richards?
Nothing today, Your Worship.
Councillor Chessel?
Nothing, Your Worship.
Councillor Mickle?
No, not at this time.
Does administration have any inquiries or announcements from any of the administration?
Mayor Roy, this is City Manager Warren. I just want to thank the public for their time during this COVID-19 and making sure that we're following all the measures put in place by the province of Saskatchewan. Things have went really well in the city so far. We as an administrative team are continuing to look at new ways to continue to provide our services to the public. So we do thank everyone for their patience through this time. And we do thank council for their support through this time as well.
I agree, as mayor. I just wanted to make sure that the public also knows that we are meeting as a group of mayors via Zoom twice a week with the Minister Carr, Minister of Municipal Affairs, and the province. We as cities throughout the province are moving forward and following the provincial lead, and we have all fallen into step that way. As things are being reduced and rolled back in the future, we will again, Minister Carr will be directing the mayors of the province, and we'll go from there. And we as Weyburn, the city of Weyburn, will be following provincial lead on that. Media, is there any questions? You have to state your name before you say anything.
Hi, this is Greg at the Weyburn Review.
Yes, go ahead.
I had a question posed to me by a lady who uses the community gardens, and she was told there may be a decision to close those this year. Do you know what's happening with that?
I'll direct that to City Administrator Matthew.
Thank you, Your Worship. And I think Andrew is still on the line as our Director of Leisure Services. So at this time for community gardens, we haven't closed the community gardens, but we are asking people to follow the restrictions put in place for the 6-meter distance. We've actually done an update on our website as well in regards to that. So right now, it's considered a park space. So we're telling people not to use those spaces until we have more idea about restrictions being lifted by the province. So right now we're following the measures put in place for them. So to answer your question, Greg, they're not closed for the season. Right now we're just following the restrictions put in place by the province in regards to physical distancing and those kind of things. So right now it isn't closed, but we're following the protocols that way as we move forward. I don't know, do you have anything else to add to that, Andrew?
Director of Leisure Services, Andrew Crow here. Yeah, so it's something that we are looking into right now. As City Manager spoke to, we have to keep in mind physical distancing and to what that equates to. It's something that we're looking at, and we're cautiously optimistic that things will turn around and we'll be able to open up our parks and play spaces again to the public. But I guess I don't have a 100% clear answer for you at this time. It's something that's on our radar and we're looking at and we're hoping to open to the public. But we don't have a for sure answer as to yes or no at this time.
Any further questions from the media? Hearing none, I just want to remind the public here, the next meeting will be held again electronically in the same manner at 5 p.m. Monday, April 27th. I thank all of council, all of the city administration, the media, for all their participation in this. And again, this is something new that we're going through. And for now, this is the way council's business shall be done, as in this city and as in many other cities across the province. I thank you for your continued support, and I'm very confident in our city administration, very confident in our council and all the people that work for the city that we will get through all this. Our citizens have been doing wonderful on this, and we will get through this whole stress that's been put on our province and our city. Thank you, and good evening.